Isn't this a great little place? It's just the sort of place you'd want to come and live, I think. Unfortunately, it's an abandoned little restaurant. It's on top of a hill in Lanzarote. I've just been running the workshop here, and this is one of the locations we come. Now, when you go away somewhere, make sure you go and look around. Go and look for interesting places. Put a bit of effort in, put a bit of research. Photography isn't just about going click, it's about finding the right place and the right time. And right now, over there, look at those clouds. And we've got light reflecting off the water, and there's a lot of mist in the air, but actually it's giving us some great light to work with. So I thought I'd come out here and see what shots I can find in this little place, because usually I shoot it in the middle of the day, or not the middle of the day, but later in the afternoon when the light's coming in here and lighting up these palm trees, and you can sort of look through at the view beyond. Right now beyond, there is some beautiful light on the little town of Haria, and it's because of that light just coming in, sneaking around the edge of the clouds. So let's go and take a little look at that. I haven't got a camera person, so I've got to wobble you around as I turn this on and off. Oops, I think I might have been a bit early, but premature with the off button there, guys. But look, I don't know if you can see down here in the valley with this cloud going on up here in the top, and then the little village down below, and you can see there are little pools of light going on down there. Maybe if I just roll up my Fuji and see if I can zoom in a little bit and just show you what I'm seeing. That is just so lovely. Right, let me see if I can roll a bit of video. Here we go. Look, we got the volcano in the background. We got that soft, kind of moody, hazy light going on all across the town of Haria. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, how could we shoot that? Well, we can either shoot it straight like that, or we can kind of open up our zoom a bit and see if we can include a little bit of the foreground, this old patio here from the restaurant. There are all sorts of possibilities. I quite like coming in a bit wider. Maybe I like this little bush. The town's very small now, and possibly the edge of the house there. I don't know. Here's one of the things. Don't be afraid to experiment. When you go somewhere, don't be afraid to get it wrong. Try different things. Shoot them anyway. It may or may not work, but shoot it anyway. Also, there's times you're going to have to wait for light. Now, right now, I've got a lovely pool of light going on in the distance on the town. Can you see that? The foreground, the first part of the town, there's no light on it. But right at the back, just in front of this volcano over here, we've got a little pool of light on the town. Well, that's caused by the edge of the cloud thickening and thinning. Utilize these things. Photography is about your environment. It's not just about the camera, and it's certainly not just about memorizing settings. This is thinking like a photographer. This is the 7 building blocks of photography. This is about understanding what the settings and controls do. Then you look at your scene and you reverse engineer back, and that will tell you your settings and things. It's not about memorizing f-stops and apertures and ISOs. So let's just take a shot anyway before that light goes. You've kind of seen what I'm thinking. I'm just going to go for a straight shot without any foreground to begin with. Those of you who are regulars may have noticed I've not actually got my little 18-55, which I love so much, because when we were on the Iceland workshop, the camera went over face down. I smashed the lens. I had to get another lens. The only one available in Iceland was this 16-55, costing a huge amount of money. But the good news is my little one's being repaired. I'll have it back, and I may well pop this one on eBay, because I don't really need a weather-sealed f2.8 lens for the sort of stuff I do with this camera. Anyway, let's get that shot before that light's completely gone. So let's do one kind of zoomed in a bit. What depth of field do I want? Come on, reverse engineer this stuff. I don't need much because I'm shooting over there. This is all beyond infinity, so I don't really need a huge amount of depth of field. Let me just have a look. I just want to make sure my shutter speed's fast enough I don't get camera shake. I'm at a f5.6 aperture, so that's wide. My focal length is about 35. I'm getting 100th of a second at f5.6. I want to put the volcano on the left and that little pool of light and those lovely clouds, a little bit of dark fields in the foreground, and shoot it. Isn't that pretty? I kind of really like that. Let's try another one. Come on, try things out. From the very same place, all I have to do is shorten that focal length a little and include some of the foreground. Now, looking at it through the camera, I don't think I like that quite so much. It's okay. but I don't think it's great. What I do like is the light, and I think when these go into Lightroom for a little bit of post-production, I think we can really make that pop, and I will show you that in part 2. We'll have a little look at those. Now, interestingly, over here, we're getting a few little beams of light out on the sea coming from behind the cloud. I'm going to stop the camera, turn it around, see if I can show you. Here we go. Now, I know I may be a bit dark. I'm leaving the camera on auto exposure because I don't have a camera person, but look out there in the distance. Look out there. Can you see there's just a few little rays coming in? There's all those highlights out there on the sea. I know they're small in your video. Let me see if I can do the same for you. Here we go. Look, we've got a little town there, we've got that band of dark cloud, and as we sort of widen the lens, we're looking down the valley towards it. I quite like that with a little bit of foreground. That looks like it could be quite interesting. In the time it's taken me to move the camera, those little beams of light have pretty much disappeared, which is a shame, but never mind, it's still quite a nice shot, and we may be able to rescue a little bit in post-production. So let's take that last shot with the foreground looking down the valley. Again, work it backwards. What aperture do we need? We've got a little bit more depth of field going on, haven't we? Because I'm including a little bit of this foreground on the edge of the hillside. So, what's that going to give us in the way of an aperture? I'm not going to tell you for a minute, you're going to have to think about it. I'm sorry, I just can't help it. Right, where am I going to focus? Well, let's focus on that foreground. Let's focus somewhere out here. That tells me on my depth of field scale that I am focusing from 5 meters to infinity, so that's good enough. I wonder what aperture it is. Gosh, this is a mystery. You're going to have to wait and see. Now let's see, we've got a very bright highlight in the sky, but I'm hoping it'll be okay. And let's just shoot that picture, that moody thing looking down that valley. Now I'm going to check the histogram because of those bright points in the sky. I think it's going to be okay. I've got a little tiny flashing highlight warning. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to see if I can do this. I don't know if I can. I don't know if the camera can focus on that. Can you see there's a little flashy thing going on? My highlight warning is doing a little tiny flashy thing. But the histogram, that showed that the highlight hasn't burnt out. The histogram is a histogram of the little JPEG preview the camera creates. If you're shooting RAW, you're safe, you're okay. I'm pretty sure I can rescue that and I can pimp up those shadows a bit. So we'll have a look at that shot too. But there's something else I want to show you down here, and this is about using the environment. So, okay, this is a great little location, we use it on the workshop. But also, how about framing the landscape within a frame? Let's just have a little look at that for a moment. I may have to wait because looking down the valley this way again, we've lost the light on it. So I've got to wait until there's a little arch in the clouds so that the light, the sun can get underneath it and light up the town again. Photography is about waiting. How many times have you been off, you've been for a walk with a camera, or you've gone somewhere really exciting, but let's say you're with your partner, your wife, your boyfriend, your cousin, your auntie, your children, whoever it may be, and you're looking at something and they're going, will you just get on and take the picture? It's because they don't understand that actually photography is often about waiting, particularly if you want to shoot landscapes. Landscapes is the domain of the exceptionally patient. It's something which I enjoy doing, but I'm not really patient enough. I much prefer travel type photography. You know, I like shooting in markets. I like shooting people doing their thing. I like shooting crazy stuff like that. Anyway, I'm just talking for the sake of it because I'm waiting for the light to move, although it is starting. Let me go and set the camera up somewhere else and I'll show you what I'm thinking. How's that? Look, we've got no less than three frames to choose from that we can frame up on landscape and what's going on beyond with. Just by coming inside this little old building, we can put a lot of foreground in and kind of make it a bit more interesting. I also like the fact that there's graffiti on the walls. I think the camera is framed, you can't quite see it. There's a pig drawn on the wall down here. I'll show you in a moment. So the light's not bad on the town. We've got a very misty volcano going on in the distance. So let's just have a little look, see what I can do. I'm going to use this video to try and show you what's going on. First off, let's have a look. I have got I want to think about exposure here, because why would I do that? It's because in here I've got a little bit less light than there is out there. So you've got to think about this, because I don't want to lose all this splendid graffiti that's going on inside. I want to be able to see both that and what's happening out there. And what's happening out there is a bit brighter. I'm losing the light off the village. I may have to pause the camera, but let's go through this little setup first. And if I have to stop the camera, I will, the video. So let me see what we've got. I'm going to need to shoot fairly wide if I want to include windows. Let me see. Let me show you the environment through this camera. Here we go, bit of video rolling. Now, even with my lens at 16, from here I can only get those two windows. And I'd kind of like the little pig down here, which I just mentioned a moment ago. I'd like to include that. That means I may have to get very close to you indeed. I don't know if I can do it yet. But also, you've got to think about where you stand. Photography is also about where you stand. It's also about bending your knees. Composition is a function of bending your knees and tilting the camera and moving your arms. Composition is not a camera function, it's an arms and knees and hands and feet function. So let me see. Now when I look through here, I've got a lovely bit of window. I can see the little town, even though it's not that brilliantly lit at the moment. But you see right in the middle here, there's this pillar. Now, what's behind that pillar? This is something you just need to think about and watch, because the volcano is behind the pillar. So if I move to my right, look, now the volcano is framed in the window. That's going to be more interesting when I zoom back out, isn't it? Because the volcano is the cool bit. Now, I want to see if I can get my little pig. That means I'm going to have to move back here and really jostle you. Don't jostle the chosen one. I know that's... Oh, I've got my pig back. Awesome. I'm going to use that pillar there and the edge of the pig. Let's zoom it up. Here we go. I'd like to try and get the stuff that's written on the wall. I'm trying not to jostle the camera, but I've got to get close to you. This is very intimate, viewers. There we go. Right, that's pretty good. I've just about got the composition that I'm going to want. What about depth of field? What will we do with that? Think about it. We've got a bit more foreground here. How far away is it from where you are, which is where I've got to stand? Well, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about 5 paces. It's about 5 meters. So if you have a depth of field scale on your lens, use it if you have one. Not all lenses have them, some do. The little mirrorless Fuji I have here has a depth of field scale, which I can look at in the viewfinder, which is very, very useful. Now, I do have to wait for the light. I can see there is a pull coming, but it's not a great one. So again, we may have to pause, stop and wait. So, what's our depth of field? Well, I'm going to need to make sure this foreground, this wall, this graffiti is sharp. So let me see what happens if I focus on the pillar on the far side of the room. That tells me from, it's not bad, let's focus. That tells me that from 2 meters to 10 meters is in focus. Let me focus out the window. Here we go. Yeah, that's telling me from 3 meters to infinity is in focus. That's 5 paces away. Happy days, everything's going to be sharp. So that's telling me that f11, that will work, but my shutter speed has now dropped to an eighth per second. That's going to be a bit too slow to handhold. So let's pimp up that ISO. I'm going to take it up to about 500. See what it looks like. It's giving me a 25th of a second. I'm shooting at 16 millimeters. It's going to be nice and sharp. So now I'm all ready. This is an important thing. Get ready. Don't forget, we've got to wait for the light. So I'm going to just, I might poke the video camera out the door there and see if I can speed it up as the light comes in and have enough time to move you back. Let's see what I can do. Okay, here we go, camera rolling. I don't know if you can see There is a little bit of light on the back of the town now since I moved in, so let's be quick. Mike be nimble, Mike be quick. Take the picture, or you're a... Anyway, so let's focus out here. We know where we're focusing. We've got everything good. Focus over there, that's where I got my focus point from. Get my composition nice with my peg. And frame it up like that. We got it there. I kind of like that. I'm just going to stand a little higher. Look at that, we've almost lost that volcano in the mist now. Let's see if I can take my exposure down a bit. See if I can bring it back. Here we go, I'm at a 60th. Let's take that down. Yeah, that's going to help the volcano. Get myself lined up, get my verticals as straight as possible. Get Piggy in. I've got to come right back here against the wall. If I'm going to do this properly, there it is. And take the shot. So, we've got a picture. Now, effort in always equals results out. I would stay here for quite a bit longer and see if the light will move. This is why you can't do photography with someone else. This is why you have to think things through. You have to know your camera settings. You have to know what your camera does. You have to know the techniques, and then you string them all together when you think like a photographer. Now, I'm just going to bide my time. If I get a shot with the light coming onto the village in the foreground, which it looks like it might do now, then I'm going to give it a go. So you may get a little bonus bit on the end of this. If not, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share it around with other people. Click in a few comments below and some likes. And sign up to our newsletter at photographycourses.biz/video, where we will notify you every time we put up a new one and of anything that's going on. So take care, guys. You may get a little bonus video right this minute because the light has actually moved while I was babbling at you. Let me take the second shot, and I think you should just be able to see, yes, that's better. So I'm going to take the shot. You see how light changes all the time. Here we go, we'll take this one here, like that. And I think you'll see there's now a little bit of light in the foreground village. I'll have to zoom in onto it a little bit for you, like that. There we go. So there we go, we've got a picture. Take care, see you next time.